Hey Taurus, hope that you're all doing well. Welcome to the channel if you're new. And if you're one of my amazing subscribers, thank you for being here. Please note these are general messages and they're not going to resonate for everybody, so just take what does and leave the rest. If none of it resonates, it's okay. It just means it's not your message this time. You can also check out your Moon, Rising, and Venus placement videos, as those may be more accurate to your situation at this point in time. And if you want to become a subscriber, it is free. So if you want to get your energy moving throughout the channel, just go ahead, hit the button. Let's see what we have. What is an influence at this point in time on the present for Taurus? Whoa. Okay, so this is like King of Pentacles energy in the normal tarot deck, right? So King of Pentacles, somebody who has a Midas touch. Your focus may have been on trying to create a life for yourself. You may be focused on a lot of materialism and security and safety within that realm. Could be very important to you. Maybe materialisms make you feel very comfortable, but this card speaks of being viral or successful, industrious, devoted, steadfast, authoritative, reliable, and dedicated. Okay. Perhaps you were taking pride recently in certain accomplishments or paying something forward. It speaks of honoring your process or not being the time to make changes, like just continuing going forward in a steady motion. It's also a card that maybe was influencing you to, or I guess you could say, to be as a reminder that life is meant to be enjoyed and to free yourself from control. It also speaks of not being lazy or trying to deal with laziness, because we all get stuck in those patterns, or maybe even abuse or misuse of power. The King of Earth is a very satisfied individual. This is somebody who has every reason to be, because everything they touch turns to gold, right? This person's kingdom, if you will, is secure and wealthy, and their people are happy and prosperous. And while some may consider that this person's circumstances are born of luck, they are a natural leader, and their success is born due to hard work and dedication. This is somebody who is proud of their accomplishments and isn't afraid to acknowledge them. More importantly, to enjoy them. But despite any appearance of excess, this person is grounded and realistic and enjoys abundance because they are wise and careful. Now, very interestingly, of course, you are an earth sign, Taurus, so the pentacles represent earth, so this is quite fitting. This individual is not afraid to be open or candid because they have no insecurities or emotional baggage to feed doubts and fears. They're only too willing, if you will, to share their success and to give advice and guidance without hesitation when asked. They do not fear that doing so will give rise to a competitor or rival because they believe that everyone is entitled to the same opportunities. This is somebody that's clear-minded and reliable, someone that can be trusted and depended on. This is someone who's also very wise and intelligent, and these factors keep this person at the forefront of all that they do. Say on a business level, some may see this person as boring and a little pedantic, but the methods are sound. This is somebody who finds a process that works for them and one that pays dividends. So why change what yields results, right? If this person's methods fail, then they're willing to change. But if the methods work, then change is not required and is an unnecessary waste of time and energy. This is not one to try and fix something that's not broken. This could appear to state that it's okay to rejoice in your successes, because all too often we're made to feel that taking pride in our success equates to being boastful, and that can lead to feelings of guilt and a decision to stay silent. And while you can choose your moments and be respectful of others' feelings, this individual suggests that you have every right to celebrate your achievements and take pride in your accomplishments. If you have the resources and means to enjoy yourself, then do so, right? There's no need to ask for anyone's permissions or blessings. This, after all, is why you've worked so hard. So this can also symbolize possibly a need to take a methodical, if you will, like one step at a time approach that you know will work out for you. And so there was something about not deviating and not taking a chance on something new and not allowing the opinions of others to sway you. Okay, so this could have been you or someone that you were dealing with, and there's a potential blockage with this card as well that may represent someone who expects others to do for them what they're too lazy to do for themselves. So they can feel that they are the lord of the domain and believe all who dwell within are there to serve them. They may even be someone who tends towards chauvinism or misogynistic behavior. This could be somebody who's very rigid and controlling or bullish and pedantic. They can also be jealous and unwilling to relinquish anything that they see as their property. They may represent someone who is vainglorious, a name dropper, who believes themselves to be far more important than they are, and be willing to take another's laurels for their own by suggesting that their success is only due to this person's help or counsel. When that comes as a blockage, it may symbolize a need to free oneself from a controlling relationship where, say, you are not treated as an equal, or maybe someone around you is feeling this way. They may also be telling you to let go and lighten up a little bit. It could even be time to laugh at yourself and to not believe your own hyperbole. So whether this represents you or the other, it basically cautions against egocentric behavior that restricts or limits others. So if you're in a position of power or responsibility, remember always that it is not in your favor to abuse it. Allow those around you to shine when it is their time to be in the spotlight, okay? So this card is what Spirit is saying has an influence at this certain point on your present. So as we delve further into it, we're going to find out what is the influence, please, Spirit? What is causing something here? Oh, interesting. We've got, I believe this is a 9. Is this the 9 of air? I think it so is. This is a newer deck for me, so I'm getting used to the new pieces of it, and it is the 9 of air. The 9 of air is akin to the 9 of swords in the normal tarot deck. The 9 of swords is not the best card in terms of it's causing fears or anxieties, but it's usually on a mental level. So this card speaks to self-awareness and universal consciousness and understanding insight or vision or imagination or fantasy or creativity. You could be dealing with an air sign, could be dealing with Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. But its key phrases really are being open to possibility, or possibilities are infinite, and knowing thyself and knowing the universe, and what dwells within you dwells within nature. It speaks of beliefs creating reality, and all that exists was first imagined, and that fantasy is the birthplace of reality, and that you're born to create and imagine your fears away. So this card is representing the imagination and connection to universal consciousness and mind, and signifying the importance of knowing thyself. For in truly knowing thyself, one will know both the universe and the power of the void. This card asks either you or somebody that you're dealing with that you could lovingly explain this to ask yourself, what if the universe we dwell within is actually the mind of another being? What if the universe is, say, in reality, a God mind, and we are the creation of another being's imagination? What if within our minds there exist universes within universes, where creatures that we dream of and imagine dwell in the same way that we do here on Earth, right? And within their minds are more universes. This is really about expansion and opening and thinking outside of the box. So like fractals, where the same pattern repeats and creates, which could be speaking to this king of Earth, right? There exist universes within universes that you are creating. And if there is that same pattern that repeats and creates, then our minds contain a universe. And within that universe are creatures and beings who also can be created. Does this make sense? Like, it's very intense, but it's about thinking outside. But the pattern is repeating in both directions exponentially, therefore creating an infinite number of universes and realities. Now, ponder for a moment. What if we looked within and discovered that within the realms of our minds, we create new worlds and realities with our beliefs? Okay, so if we choose to believe in something and a new world that mirrors that belief is there born, then we stop believing in something and that world either evolves with our beliefs or ceases to be completely. So universes overlap. They are born, they die, they're forever bound to the life and beliefs of the quote unquote God mind that created them. So what if billions of lives were, say, dependent upon our belief for their very existence? Would it not be wise to believe with understanding and knowledge? Would that not create a universe that is a little more constant and conducive to life? So that could be, again, where this is saying, like, are you continuing to create a reality for yourself that is consistent and stable? What if we're the only beings within this universe because the God mind in which we dwell is a young mind with limited exposure and at this time only believes in our existence? Pythagoras is created with saying, man, know thyself, and you will know the universe in which gods dwell. So simply put, Pythagoras believed that to know oneself was to know the universe and the power of the gods, and he is correct. Everything man has within our physical reality that is not born of the natural world was first imagined by man. So the television, the phone in your hand, the laptop, the movies that you watch, the car that you drive, everything that man has created was first imagined by their inventor. So moreover, when these brave souls actually voiced their desire to create their new and strange contraptions, they were seen as maybe crazy or eccentric and foolish. They were told that, you know, what they wanted to create, for that matter, was a fantasy. At one time or another, everything we have in our present reality was once deemed to be an impossible fantasy, and yet now these things exist and we take their existence for granted. So what I'm getting a sense of here, Taurians, is that there's something here that you have in your mind that can be created. And perhaps you've been told in the past, no, that might be a little bit outlandish, or no, we don't see that as being a possibility, or no, I don't see that as going forward, there's too many complications. If that be the case, Taurus, Spirit is reminding you that everything that was created and everything that is in the physical here came from someone's idea. Perhaps there's an idea that you need to go back to and revisit, and it would make you very wealthy. But that would require having to stand up to the naysayers, okay? Beautiful. So the next card you have here is Fire. So this speaks of action, taking action on something that you're thinking of. Okay, so whether there's some idea in the past that you didn't bring forth, this is the Six of Fire, and this talks about victory. So it would be like the Six of Wands in the normal deck. This is about recognition. You are going to be recognized. So if you're going through a struggle at this point in time, trying to create something or trying to make something happen, or maybe a loved one is trying to deter you from something that you want to do, this is telling you that you are going to be successful, and it's a matter of sticking to the thoughts, staying true to yourself, and going through. Or also, if you do get the recognition here that this Six of Fire brings, not to abuse the power. So this card speaks of healing and meditation, negotiation, arbitration, truce, boundaries, support, and diplomacy. It speaks of resolution being needed, communication and diplomacy being required, and being willing to make concessions, letting go of bias, being open-minded, which is what, you can see in this card, right? So if this is on a personal level, if this isn't even about creation of some sort, it's asking, if you continue to be steadfast in your approach, are you being too closed off and not open enough to make compromise here? But success is available. There's two sides to every disagreement. It speaks of knowing facts or understanding your rights and not being stubborn or too fixated. It's a time of healing through understanding the importance of meditation or negotiation or arbitration. So I see and I feel like communication and diplomacy is going to be required in order to end a conflict or dispute. It could be quite possible that this is you representing you, and you're very steadfast in your approach, and you could be dealing with somebody who is very open-minded to a point where their ideas or the things that they say may seem very outlandish to you. And in this point in time, it's asking that both be respectful of the fact that maybe you do things the way you do because it's always giving you proven results, but also to be respectful of the fact that, somebody's ideas may seem a little outlandish or crazy, but everybody's ideas have been that at one point in time, right? They've always faced challenges because they're open-minded. And if closed-minded people, and what I mean by closed-minded, like if people in the past didn't have or choose to tap into their imaginations and their fantasies, then they continued creating, right, what's already been known. But new innovation and new ideas come from those who think outside of the box. So it looks as though there needs to be some sort of compromise here in the near future. So this card also asks to abide by the golden rule in the moment. Treat others how you yourself would ask and expect to be treated. So maybe this person could be saying you're too closed off. But if you could see both are right, does that make sense? So I feel like, or I don't feel like, sorry, but this card is saying that diplomacy is required to end a conflict or a dispute. So there's times in our lives where we may find ourselves caught up in a dispute or a conflict after boundaries have been crossed or our feelings hurt or egos are bruised. If lines of communication remain open, then both parties are willing, if they are willing for that matter, the conflict can be resolved. But there are often times when both parties find themselves unable to find or maintain the middle ground. And if they must continue to work or play a part in each other's lives, a mediator literally is required to negotiate or arbitrate a truce. There are two sides to each of the disagreements, as we mentioned, and because of that, there are times when both parties involved can be right, as I was saying, and times when both parties can be wrong. So for there to be a good outcome or a beneficial outcome to both parties must be first willing to hear at least each other's point of view. And there are times when that will only happen if a mediator steps in to hear both sides without bias. Perhaps this is talking about you becoming a mediator, okay? And maybe that's what that success is, and recognition. But again, sometimes mediation is all that's required, and a simple act of, say, allowing both parties to air their grievance and present their points of view, which allows them to come to a resolution on their own. So there are times when arbitration will be required. So maybe this is even saying that if there's an issue here where two people can't get on board or can't find commonality, is that perhaps it might be time to bring in an arbitrator or a mediator because neither party is willing to make concessions or allowances for the feelings or rights of the other. It's left to whoever mediates or arbitrates to determine who is in the right based upon the laws of, quote unquote, the land, right? So even if complete resolution cannot be achieved, at least the Six of Fire asks that we remain conciliatory at this time, okay? An open mind and willingness to meet the other party halfway will stand people in a good stead. So it can also represent pending legal situations where rules or laws have been broken, and as a result, harm has been done to another. So the law is going to step in and determine who's right and who's wrong. Justice will be served, okay? So in this circumstance, be sure to keep emotions under control and have facts straight. Remain respectful of laws that are in place and be both courteous and considerate at all times, because behaviors and attitudes may have bearing on the outcome, as will sound knowledge of your rights and responsibilities. So this card also asks to not allow a lack of awareness or immoderate behavior place yourself at a disadvantage. Or this could be what this other person is going to do. They might even run into a disadvantage where the law is concerned because of their behavior. Maybe they are too outlandish. But regardless, a problem needs to be rectified, and I think that it will. Sixes are about balance. So this card is also asking to take notice that it can represent an unwillingness to come to the discussion table and resolve a problem that's not only affecting just yourself, but those around you also. And would you rather fight and win than to give an inch? Compromise is not in the vocabulary. So somebody here is being too stubborn and not wanting to hear the other out. And even if they feel that they're justified and that the party who's wronged the other should be held to account, this card also understands that at this time, actions and demands may also hurt innocent parties. So it's time to put the sword down and step away from the fight, not just for one's own sake, but for the benefit of those also who are caught up in the war that someone's waging. So whether the war is with another, or say there's an internal conflict that someone's waging within, it's now time to end it, right? It talks about trying to accept that some things cannot be changed or resolved, and that sometimes the better person is the one who walks away, okay? So very interesting here that I really see there's two situations. You've got two opinions, I feel, an air and earth, and one is trying to be steadfast because they know it works and doesn't need change, doesn't feel they need change. And I see another individual who feels that change is necessary or wants to create and wants to do whatever, and perhaps, you know, someone's hindering the other. So it comes to a point where it's causing some conflict, but a balance is going to be reached. But it may need to be reached with the help of someone else, or allowing someone else to give their perspective on the situation. Okay, so please leave a comment if this made sense, or if you got anything useful from all of the information that came from, you know, the meaning of the cards. Please let me know in the comment section, okay? Sending you all so much love on your journeys, and see you again soon. Bye, Taurus.